This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by Newegg. Whether you're building a new computer or bringing life to an old one, Newegg has all of the parts and pieces to make that experience better. You can get SSDs to speed up an old laptop, or you can turn your laptop into a more productive rig with a second monitor. Right now, they've got an Acer 27-inch FreeSync monitor for $159, which is really a great deal. We've got some Acers in the office, and they make great work computers or monitors. So definitely something to check out. And the deals change every day. There's always something going on. So whatever components and pieces you're looking for, you can find them by going to f5live.tv/Newegg. And of course, that is not the website I'm supposed to say, but it happened, so here we are. Pilchpoint.live/Newegg. That one will get you there too. Anyway, so other ways to speed up your PC, right, Avram, is configuring Windows correctly.
Yes. So I'm excited to have annoyed some people with my article. So I was just looking at the comments as you were talking. Periodically we, when I worked for Laptop Mag, I did a story like this, and then we decided, hey, for Tom's Hardware, why don't I do a story also about like Windows 10 settings that you should change right away. Now, so if you haven't changed these, then I think you should. And if you get a new computer and a new install or whatever, like this would be, your to-do list. Now, we could tip number 2. I knew would annoy some people, and people are certainly. I invite their disagreement. But
I can't wait to hear what tip number 2 is now.
So tip number 1 is this is really basic. Everybody should do this. There's no controversy about this. Unhide the file extensions and hidden files.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, it's so annoying. It's like treating you like such a like it's treating what I really hate in any program, in any operating system, and it's not just Microsoft guilty of this, is when you treat users like idiots. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, we can't trust you to actually know what you're doing, so we're going to protect you from yourself.
Yes.
And like maybe
the whole founding principle of iOS.
We're going to I think look, it's 2018. People are not dumb. I mean, people may do dumb things, but they do dumb things because they do dumb things and they probably know better. Or, if they don't, I'm like, there's not people. So like, and sometimes in trying to protect people from themselves, you actually put them in more danger too. Uh-huh. So in the case of Windows, the default setting is they don't show you the file extensions. So unless it's a file extension Windows has never heard of. But like somebody sends you a file, you open up you're looking your File Explorer and you see, hey, I've got a bunch of JPEGs here, but it doesn't say .jpg. It just says image file or JPEG file, because they literally make invisible the file extension .jpg or .html or .doc or .docx. So what happens when you have multiple files that look alike, like they've got similar icons or whatever, but their file extension is invisible to you? Plus, it's really weird when you're going to save stuff and you try to save it as .jpg, and then like you can't see what you saved it as. Like, it's so dumb. Like, I think they're afraid that people are going to be turned off by like the very computerized nature of having file extensions. Listen, I get it. If we were to go back to 1981 or something in the MS-DOS days, maybe file extensions are not, maybe they're not as like user friendly as, no, actually they are user friendly. They tell you what something is.
Yep, I agree.
So, they're just not, they just expose the guts of computers to you. This is what this is named. So it hides that from you. You can go into File Explorer options, make it show uncheck the box that says hide extensions. The other thing is it hides directories from you, folders. And there are folders that you really need to see, like in your user directory, there may be log files, that may be where there's some data that you need. Like, no, don't hide that stuff from me, just because you're afraid I might go in and start randomly erasing stuff. If someone goes and starts randomly erasing files on their own hard drive, then, there's nothing you can do for them. Now, tip number 2 that some people will disagree with, and Scott may disagree with it, and that's okay. We'll agree to disagree. I really dislike the user account control settings. I really think the UAC. Now, for those who don't know what UAC is, you've experienced it even if you don't know what it is.
For sure.
So by default, your computer will say things to you when you start to try to install software, like this program wants to make changes to your computer. Do you really want to let it?
It's the yellow dialog box,
right,
where the buttons are backwards, which drives me crazy.
And then you have to click yes. I actually meant to install this thing that I just clicked to install. Okay, I meant to do it. You don't need to warn me against my own behavior. It feels a little bit like some type of like a school marm or something. Like, do you really want to install a program? I mean, it's so anyway, I recommend that people turn that off. And you can go to that by typing user account control into the Cortana search box and moving the slider on it down to never notify. Now, there are many people who don't agree with this because they think that, they're concerned that if a malicious program tries to modify that they may get a warning. Now, if you turn it all the way up so that it always bothers you for every breath that you take, it may be a little bit, it may warn you if something bad happens. But generally, it's just an annoyance. And I guess there's always a push-pull with security settings, right? There's people who love security settings to the exception of usability. So UAC is like that. It tells you, it warns you against your own behavior, and then there's the minute possibility that, hey, if you have a malware trying to install itself, it would warn you of that. But malware is a lot smarter than that usually. And by the way, you have other defenses against malware, like your anti-malware, antivirus software, so to try and prevent against that. So, but I understand. I mean, there are people who want to retype their password for every single thing that they do. They want to have to retype their password every 5 minutes. I feel like these sorts of things slow you, really slow you down with not a great discernible benefit. So I know some people like that, like it, and they're entitled to their opinion. My opinion is it's annoying. Other things that you should definitely change. We've got a couple on here that I'll just ask people to go to the article because they're a little complicated to explain without you seeing like where you go to in the registry to change them. But we definitely recommend disabling the lock screen. That doesn't mean your computer's not locked. I want to point that out. It means disable the splash screen that appears before the password prompt. Mm-hmm. So by default,
that little image cover thing.
Right. By default, Windows, I think they've got stock in carpal tunnel companies or something like that make the little sticks for your finger, wants you to have to click the mouse before you put in your password to make a little like cover photo go away. Why can't they just give you the password box straight out? Now, if you are using facial recognition, that actually gets around this problem because I think facial or fingerprint recognition will just dismiss it automatically. So that's good. But if, like a lot of people, you're typing a password, then there's a registry setting you can do to make this go away. Similarly,
It is a setting that I personally change ever since I think your last article when you were at the other brand. I have been changing this myself, except for on the traveling studio computer, just so when it's locked, I just have the company logo up. But other than that, even I make that change.
But the thing is, it has the company logo or whatever, the wallpaper behind your password prompt, so it's not even it's. But anyway, one last thing I'll say out of these 10 tips is we also have a registry tip on how to force your computer to actually close apps when you go to shut down. I really hate it. Annoys me to no end. When you have the situation where, like, let's say you were typing a few notes into Notepad and you didn't save them because you copied and pasted it somewhere else, or you had taken a screenshot and you had to crop it in an image editor and then paste it somewhere else, and so you have unsaved files, right, on your computer, and you go to shut down because you want to turn your computer off, and then it doesn't shut down because it gives you this message saying, "You sure you really want to close these programs?" And then you have to hit force close, and it's annoying, and you can't just turn off your computer and walk away, or restart your computer and walk away. So there's some registry settings to make it automatically kill those tasks. Like if you shut down, it's because you meant to shut down. But once again, it's that philosophy that you don't know what you're doing, so we got to protect you from yourself. You might have unsaved files here, so we're going to make sure that we can, warn you to go back and save them rather than shut down the computer like you wanted to do. And that's also really frustrating when you have a situation where you've got a lot of junk open and your computer's going so slow, and you're like, let me turn this off. Just let me restart this now. One more thing I will mention, because I find this is a fairly new thing and more recent updates of Windows 10 that is really, really annoying, is there's an option, I think you've probably experienced it, that is, I think, enabled by default, where if you had programs open and you restart your computer, or the apps will open all over again, and every app you had open will open all over again, and your browser will open with all the tabs that it had open. So imagine, your computer is crashing because it's out of memory, and oh crap, I got to restart. Oh, we're going to take you back to what you were doing. Thanks. So I mean, sometimes you want to reboot because you've got so much crap in your memory. You just want a fresh start. Sometimes you need to do that, unfortunately. So there, in setting sign-in options, there's an option that says use my sign-in to automatically finish setting up my device and reopen my apps after an update or restart. Makes it seem like that's only for updates, but it actually works across a lot of. I find it's not just updates.
Okay.
So make sure that's toggled to off. I mean, I think you can reopen all your own apps, honest.
Yeah, for sure. I've only got one computer that I ever want to restore what it had, and it never restores it the way I want, because it only brings the windows back up, but it doesn't ever put them back where they were. It's a whole different level of annoying.
I mean, that's where you have your things that you want to start when Windows starts, and if the reason that if your shutdown was unexpected, it's probably because something crashed.
Yeah.
And if it crashed, you don't want to go back to having.
Right. You don't want back that condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I find that remarkably annoying and dumb. But please check out the rest of this article. There's comments there. You can tell me you completely disagree with the user account control advice or other advice. Just go to the homepage of tomshardware.com.
Fantastic. I always love that you enjoy when people are like, no, you're wrong. I know we've talked about it a bunch. You like knowing that you made an impact on somebody, but I just love your reaction when people are like, no. It always makes me laugh. Anyway, thank you for this, and definitely go check out the full list on Tom's Hardware, everybody.
Yeah.